everybody, how's it going? My name is Will and welcome to Copper Jacket TV. So we actually have some good news to talk about today, which is nice for a change because we've been talking a lot this year about all the new gun control bills that have been introduced in the state of California for 2025, and there have been quite a few. And in a state like California, where they already have more laws in the books than just about any other state out there, it's amazing to me that they come up with new ways to infringe on your rights every single year. Sometimes they have to get a little bit more creative, and this year they came up with things like background checks on barrels and bans, and there's a lot going on that we need to talk about. But today, thankfully, we're talking about two bills that have died in committee. These are two major gun control bills that are no longer going to be moving forward. And that's kind of surprising in California because the left has a super majority in the legislature, and obviously they have the governor's office. So whatever they want to go through can go through. So when we get a win like this, it's definitely worth talking about. You guys are going to want to stick around to hear what failed in committee. Now, real quick before we get started, this channel is proudly sponsored by Attorneys on Retainer. Listen, if you're somebody who carries to defend yourself or your loved ones, or maybe you just keep something in the home for home defense, you need a membership with Attorneys on Retainer because heaven forbid the worst actually happens and you have to defend yourself. You could still be the one that ends up in handcuffs, and you're going to need good quality representation. Attorneys on Retainer, who is backed by Attorneys for Freedom, is the only law firm in the entire country that does nothing but self-defense cases. They also have things like civil liability coverage, red flag coverage, and more, online education and training. It is honestly the best peace of mind that you will ever have in your wallet. Definitely check out the link down below. I've got some savings down there as well. Become a member like me of Attorneys on Retainer. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what's going on here. And you're going to want to stay tuned for the second bill because that's the bill that would have affected everybody in the state of California that wanted to participate in their Second Amendment rights. And before we talk about the first bill, I just want to give a quick shout out to the CRPA and the GOC, Rick Travis and Sam Paredes, for always being in Sacramento and lobbying and advocating against these bills. The first bill that we're talking about is SB 320, and I could not be happier to see this bill be stopped in committee because SB 320 would allow people in California to voluntarily give up their rights. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, who would voluntarily give up their rights? We know that one side would probably voluntarily give up their rights, but nobody on our side would voluntarily do that. Well, you got to remember that sometimes certain things happen, and they happen in this space, and people have moments of weakness, and things get really tough. They get off center, and they end up doing things that they regret later. And people do stuff like that, and they maybe give up their rights, and then once they become more level-headed and centered again, and they kind of calm down from the situation, they realize that, well, for the rest of your life, you have lost your rights because you signed them away. And so while that one wouldn't necessarily directly affect everybody in California other than those people who decided to participate in it, I still don't like the idea of allowing the government to have somebody voluntarily give up any of their rights. That's just not the way that things should happen. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about the big one, the one that would have affected everybody in the state of California. I am happy to announce that AB 1187 has failed in committee, and I have made several videos about 1187 because that is the permit to purchase bill. What it did was it built on top of the already unconstitutional firearm safety certificate, where if you want to get yourself anything in the state of California, you have to have this stupid little certificate. In order to get that, you have to pass a little exam, you have to give up your personal identifying information and so forth, you got to pay a fee, and then you're able to participate in your right. It's already a permit to purchase in the state of California, but this expanded on that by requiring 8 hours of training, including live fire training at your expense. So not only do you now have to pay for the certificate, you would have to also pay for the training itself and everything that went along with the training and so forth. And there were questions about how this would even be implemented, because if you don't have a certificate, how are you supposed to get yourself anything to be able to do the live fire training and so forth? There was a lot of problems with this, but this basically made it, probably impossible for some people who already couldn't afford what they wanted to get. And now they have all these different fees and stuff that they have to pay and time that they have to take off of work in order to get this stuff done, just to get the new enhanced safety certificate. So thankfully, the upgraded and enhanced permit to purchase bill in California has failed, and we don't have to worry about that one anymore. That is, unless California does something that they love to do, which is a gut and amend, right? They'll take a bill that's made it through committee, okay? It's already ready for the House floor, it's ready for the Assembly floor, the Senate floor, whatever. They'll strip all the language out of it and then put in whatever they want. So that way they don't have to worry about committees. There's not a high likelihood that that will happen with these bills, but it is still something to pay attention to. So out of the few bills that have failed so far, those are the two that I felt that were the most egregious right now that I wanted to let you guys know about. Because as we battle through the rest of this legislative session and we watch these other bills creep forward, it's nice to kind of whittle away at that and take away some of these so that we can kind of focus on the other things. You know, like I said before, the background check for barrels things and the bans and other stuff that California's trying to pass. And that way we can kind of maintain our focus. You know, if you're in the state of California, make sure that you're a member of one of those groups. I'm not supported, sponsored, or anything like that from any of these groups whatsoever. But I like to let people know that these groups are there fighting on our behalf in Sacramento. Even though I'm not in California anymore, I still have pretty much all of my family there. I'm there a lot visiting family and so forth. So it still matters a lot to me, and I lived there for 43 years of my life. So again, I think it's very important that we support the groups that support us up there in Sacramento, and I wanted to let you guys know about that. So I want to thank you all very much for watching. Really do appreciate it. That's 2 down. We still have several more to go, but we'll keep up the fight. You guys keep up the fight, and have a great day.